Ubisoft are going all in on the Assassin's Creed franchise, more than what they've ever done before. Don't believe me? Well, in today's video, we're going to be going through 11 titles. Yes, that is right, 11 titles which are supposedly within development. Some we know 100% to be true because Ubisoft have officially revealed them, whereas others we do just have leaks and rumors to go on. But they do come from reliable sources. So firstly, we have Assassin's Creed Mirage. This is the one that we all know about to a certain degree. I'm actually very excited for this Assassin's Creed title, but I've been fairly skeptical over the past couple of months. It is supposed to release at some point within 2023, and initial leaks said it was going to be June-July time, but we still haven't had any gameplay. Ubisoft are trying to sell the collector's edition without providing any more additional information. But this is still a title which on paper sounds good for those which have been long-term Assassin's Creed fans. It's going back to the roots. It's going to be a densely populated city. The narrative is going to be more linear, being around 15 to 20 hours long. And its main focus is going to be on stealth and parkour. We actually have many videos here on the channel which have an in-depth analysis on Assassin's Creed Mirage, so we won't cover it all within this video. After Assassin's Creed Mirage within 2024, it is expected that we're going to get Assassin's Creed Codename Red. This has already been announced by Ubisoft. They have already pushed a reveal trailer, but there's no official release date as of yet, especially considering they still haven't got an official release date for Assassin's Creed Mirage. But with Assassin's Creed Codename Red, it's probably the most anticipated because it's based in Japan. Assassin's Creed Codename Red is going to be more like what we've seen with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, except there's going to be more focus on the stealthiness of the game. It's still going to be an RPG, it's still going to be a massive open world. And according to leaks, you will be able to play as one of two characters, allowing there to be a lot more choice than what we're seeing with Assassin's Creed Mirage, but this is expected to release sometime in 2024. After this, we will then move on to Assassin's Creed Codename Hex, which is expected to release sometime in 2025, maybe even 2026. This has been described as a new flagship title. With all the different releases that Ubisoft are trying to push, they don't just want to stick to the normal Assassin's Creed vision. They want to push outside of the original boundaries, and apparently Assassin's Creed Hex is exactly that. Now, as we're getting further and further from today's present date, it becomes more and more difficult with information to know exactly what this is going to be. But rumors have suggested that the game will be set in Central Europe during the 16th century. This was a pivotal time in history. A sort of mass hysteria gripped the continent. Over 80,000 people were executed, all for the crime of being in league with the devil. With the reveal trailer that Ubisoft have already pushed, so we know 100% that this is in development, it does have a much darker and grittier feel to it. So the speculation is that Assassin's Creed Codename Hex will be the driving force behind the devastating 16th century witch trials. Now, with all the Assassin's Creed titles from this point onwards, it gets more and more difficult to say exactly what they're going to be, because now we're getting to the point of where we do only have very limited information, or at the very best, it is just leaks. So the next title is Assassin's Creed Codename Jade. This is not a full Assassin's Creed title released, it will be there for mobile, and it's going to be set within China. It is said that it will feature a fully customizable character players can create, making the series very first. And then it will bring all the iconic gameplay of the franchise over to mobile and optimize for an experience with touch controls. Alongside this, there will also be Assassin's Creed Codename Invictus. This is a Assassin's Creed multiplayer. It has been advertised as a game mode where it would feature all previous Assassin's Creeds and the main assassins that were part of them. Most are thinking of this similar to what you had with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, with the multiplayer within that game mode, except instead of playing with Templars, you are playing as assassins. Now, I know a lot of people would like something similar to what we had with Assassin's Creed Unity, where instead of facing other players, it was more co-op. And we will talk a bit more about that in a second. But before we do talk about that, we need to talk about Assassin's Creed Infinity. Because even though I've listed it as one of the 11 titles that we're talking about within this video, it's not actually an Assassin's Creed game. is more of an Assassin's Creed hub, and everything that we've spoken about so far, with the exception of Assassin's Creed Mirage, will be part of Assassin's Creed Infinity. So Assassin's Creed Codename Red, Assassin's Creed Codename Hex, Assassin's Creed Codename Jade, Assassin's Creed Codename Invictus will all be part of Assassin's Creed Infinity. And these are the games that have been confirmed so far, but it is believed that everything else that we're going to be talking about, whether they're real or maybe Ubisoft are going to be developing a different type of Assassin's Creed title, it will all be under this umbrella of Assassin's Creed Infinity. And with everything that we have mentioned, Ubisoft have confirmed that everything is currently in development. Now we get to the point of where there's more secrecy, because Ubisoft haven't confirmed the next titles, but there's been quite a few leaks. According to these leaks, there is a title called Assassin's Creed Project Nexus. This is a VR title which was originally expected to be revealed during E3 later this year, but of course E3 was cancelled, so I imagine Ubisoft will do their own thing at a fairly similar time. At that point, I'm also expecting Ubisoft to reveal more about Assassin's Creed Mirage, so maybe they'll go hand in hand. But apparently this is not enough for Ubisoft to create a VR title as a test for Assassin's Creed and then release it to see how it does and then work on a second one, because apparently Project Nexus 2, which is their second VR title, is already within prototyping stage. Most game studios would like to see how their first initial game performs before they start to plan and release a second one, but apparently Ubisoft have other plans, and they want to do both at the exact same time. Moving away from VR and going back to the main platforms, another title in development is called Assassin's Creed Codename Nebula. The studio behind this is those that created Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation and Assassin's Creed Rogue. They've pitched the idea of an Assassin's Creed title that will have 3 different settings: India, Aztec Empire, and the Mediterranean. Now, we're not sure whether or not this is 3 separate releases or a standard release with there being 2 DLCs, or if this is one game set within the 3 locations, but these are 3 locations which people have talked about before. For the next game, I want to flash back to when we was talking about Assassin's Creed Codename Invictus. I said for Invictus that it will be a multiplayer game where you would face off with previous assassins that have been part of the franchise, and I also said that there would be players that would be more interested in a co-op gameplay. Well, that's apparently what Assassin's Creed Codename Red is. This is allegedly supposed to be a free-to-play 4-player cooperative title that will be PvE. It's also believed that the title's characters will all be from the Assassin's Creed universe, so it's exactly the same as what Invictus has been pitched as, except with Raid, it's going to be PvE rather than PvP. And I think out of the multiplayer options between the two, this one would be more exciting, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And finally, the last project to talk about is Assassin's Creed Codename Echoes. The studio behind this title is known for developing the multiplayer portions of games like Assassin's Creed, Splinter Cell, as well as also co-developing for Division 2 with Massive Entertainment. Now with Echoes, they've pitched and what is described a multiplayer title using the Ubisoft Scalar technology. Now in terms of leaks with gameplay, there's nothing there, but Scalar technology is quite interesting. This is cloud computing to allow pretty much everything to be rendered and optimized on Ubisoft servers rather than your own. What's being proposed is that Scalar technology will allow developers to place microservices independently of the cloud. That means they can update and improve one service without impacting others, or even add new features or components to the game without interrupting play sessions. The whole purpose of this is so that they can remove technical constraints for game developers whilst enabling them to focus on creativity and design like never seen before. Ubisoft's proposal with this is that now with cloud computing they can create these massive unprecedented freedom worlds and everything would be handled with Ubisoft servers. That means for you, whether you're playing on PC or console or mobile, you just need the hardware which is powerful enough to render your moving character. The downloads for the game would be minimal. You can immediately pick up and play. and you can play at the highest resolution at the very best settings with it not really having much of an impact, as long as you do have good enough hardware to just render your character. Everything else is pretty much streamed over to you. I can only see them really taking advantage of this if it ended up being a massive open world with multiple characters being part of it. Potentially an MMORPG. But with this, it's still way too early. Whilst going through this, we did talk about some dates. Assassin's Creed Mirage is scheduled to release sometime this year in 2023. Assassin's Creed Codename Red is scheduled 2024, Assassin's Creed Invictus for 2025, Assassin's Creed Codename Hex for 2026. And I should also say that these are internal release dates. And I'm sure that there's going to be many delays for each of these titles, especially considering how Ubisoft have been over the last couple of years. They've delayed or cancelled more titles than they've released. It normally takes Ubisoft about 5 to 6 years to make one Assassin's Creed, especially on the larger scale. And if you want to learn a bit more about the development cycle, then why don't you check out my other channel. My other channel is dedicated to game design and game development. If you've ever wondered what it's like to be within the game industry, then I highly recommend subscribing to our new channel, and why don't you just click the video on screen now. That video goes through the harsh reality of being a game developer within 2023. If it's your dream to be a game developer, well, maybe you should watch that video first.